Hello everybody, my name is Resendez, and this is going to be my informative speech. So today we're going to be talking about deforestation and the negative effects it has on our planets and the environment around us. The reason why I chose deforestation is because it's common knowledge that most environmental movements are based around the burning of fossil fuels and the improper disposal of human waste, such as plastic products. But the lesser talked about aspect of environmentalism is deforestation. According to the NDRC, 20% of all carbon emissions comes from deforestation, and that's definitely not a number that should be taken lightly. It's definitely a topic that should be more discussed, and that's the reason why I'm doing this presentation today. So I'm going to be breaking this presentation down into three main topics. The first one is going to be deforestation and soil erosion. The second one is going to be the displacement of biological communities. And the third section is going to be deforestation and carbon emission and what that means in regards to climate change. So firstly, deforestation and soil erosion. Basically what that means is when a forest is eradicated, there's no longer a canopy to protect precious topsoil, which is very nutrient rich, from getting washed away by water. And without a vast root system, it also allows water to carry away larger and larger chunks of soil away over time. So as you can see from this picture right here, this is a very arid and deserted kind of area. And this obviously used to be a very populated area as far as biological life goes, as far as plant life goes, because you can see in the background it's very green, but in this area right here, it's very dirt ridden. And this is a result of some form of erosion. So water came and it carried away large chunks of land and it kind of left it into this barren wasteland. And according to MIT, when a situation like this happens, it allows for the intrusion and domination of floor plants such as ferns. So what it means is a fern and other floor plants like that are going to come and they're going to choke out this area of any other life, which means that trees like this are not going to be able to grow in this area ever again because it's going to be completely dominated by those hardy fern plants. And so that is a form of displacement of biological communities. Plants are biological communities and they're being displaced by those fern plants. And that's going to bring us to our next section, which is the displacement of biological communities. So obviously, something that happens when a forest is cut down is it takes away shelters and food resources for smaller animals, and it also takes away from food and shelter from larger animals, from predators who eat those smaller animals, and it's basically a domino effect for the food chain of any given area. Deforestation is a large contributor to the displacement of biological communities. But one of the main topics that I'm going to focus on is that creeping plants, those ferns that are going to come in and they're going to choke out areas and they're going to basically prevent that forest from regrowing. It's going to be very difficult for that forest to come back to its former glory, and that's definitely the main thing that I want to push right here. Next, we're going to talk about deforestation as far as slash and burn farming goes. So according to Rainforest Saver, slash and burn farming is when a farmer comes and they mark a certain portion of a forest to be burned down, and once that forest is completely burned down, they use that field that was once a forest for farming, and they farm it hard and they farm it for all the nutrients that it has, basically. And so just the same as soil erosion, it takes away all of that very nutrient rich soil from that area, and then the farmer just moves on to the next field and does the same thing. So this is also a form of displacement of biological communities because, again, the fern plants are going to dominate that area because they're the only plants that could survive in that nutrient light air, in that nutrient light soil, and also all the animals that once lived there are no longer going to be able to live there. Also, slash and burn farming brings us to my next topic, which is the release of carbon into our atmosphere. So, according to MIT, or according to Smith actually, environmentalist, about 20% of tree carbon is contained in its branches and then is emitted when they are burned from logging operations. And an additional 53% of trees removed from the forest is emitted as waste in the manufacturing and milling process. Overall, about 2/3 of the carbon in trees that are logged and lumbered quickly become greenhouse gas. So I feel like that's very important. You heard it right there. About 28% of carbon is contained in the branches. So when you're doing something like milling, lumbering, and slash and burn farming, we're releasing a lot of carbon and greenhouse gases into our environment, which contributes to global warming. And global warming, as we all know, contributes to melting of the polar ice caps. It contributes to extreme weather events. It contributes to rising sea levels. And the disturbance of animals' natural habitats. Even our own habitats are disrupted by global warming. It's definitely something that affects us. It's definitely something that we should worry about. Another thing that happens that contributes to global warming is going back to soil erosion. When large portions of soil are taken away, when large portions of soil are taken away, it creates kind of like a muddy area. So if we go back to this slide right here, a muddy area like this is going to collect a lot of water. And so according to MIT, this is going to result in an anaerobic fermentation, which forms a large amount of methane, which is a greenhouse gas. So what's going to happen is water is going to come right here. It's going to ferment with different biological components, and it's going to release methane gas into the air, which is also going to contribute to global warming. And so that's where soil erosion comes and plays a big part in this. It contributes to a large portion of it. And where does soil erosion come from? A large portion of it comes from the fact that this forest is eradicated. It's deforestation. And that is basically what I have. That's my explanation on why deforestation is a negative contributor to our environment and to our planet as a whole. I hope that with this information, you are able to make more informed decisions as far as environmentalism goes, and as far as advocating for the slowness of deforestation, I guess you can say. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.